What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand up! It's October. No need to stay sober. We got the man Jimmy High Roller. When you can't shoot, and everyone knows it. We already know who this is probably about.
Question.
Let's check it out.
If you were an NBA GM and your team made the playoffs, what would you do if once you got there, your young three-time All-Star put up 11 points per game on a measly 4.5 shots, shot a historically bad free throw percentage, refused to shoot a three despite being a guard, and was virtually unplayable in the closing moments of those big playoff games? Well, if you were the 76ers ownership, you'd hand this player a $177 million contract, making him the 9th highest paid player in the entire league. That player being Ben Simmons. Now, I'd be lying if I said that Ben Simmons was the only overpaid player in the NBA. But Ben Simmons is a special case because not only has he underperformed in big moments, he doesn't even care. Earlier this week, Ben Simmons showed up to a 76ers practice.
Bro, this is the practice. Bro, I meant to actually react to this, but I'm happy you showed the footage.
With what appeared to be a phone in his pocket and everything other than playing basketball with the Sixers on his mind.
Bro, at this point, man, Simmons, man, you just ungrateful, dog. There's millions of people, bro, that come from hard struggles and all that wish to play in the NBA and even have a chance to try out, bro. Like, at just this point, bro, like, you just got to suck it up and just play, bro. Like, bro, you are in the NBA, and it's like, bro, I understand if you don't win a championship, your goal is to win a championship. Like, bro, okay, you realize that you just suck, okay? You're a casual at its finest, but you're getting paid like a superstar, bro. Like, it's just like, I don't know what you expect. Like, you're the reason why that your game is the way it is. If you can't make a bucket, go in the gym and shoot 500 shots a day. Like,
this brings
I don't know, bro. He just like, to me, he's ungrateful at this point, bro.
Simmons for one game because
bro, I'm putting my pride aside. It's not the Philadelphia 76ers are a bad team. They made the playoffs last year. They went to the first round. You know what I'm saying? They're a good team, and if he actually steps up and plays the way he's supposed to, they can legitimately go as far as to the third round. And I just hate to admit this, but it's just facts. They got solid pieces. They got an all-star. They got Joel Embiid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. That's just weird to me, bro.
If I had to make a guess,
I feel like, if you guys remember Latrell Sprewell, I think he's about to take his route, like in a way
he
similar.
Care less about, since Ben chose to sit out their following game. Simmons wants out of Philadelphia by any means necessary, but he isn't the first player to want out of a team. Back in 2018, Kawhi Leonard forced his way out of San Antonio by just not playing, suiting up with only 9 of the team's.
They was really quiet about that because I don't remember that
season. In 2019, Anthony Davis forced his way out of New Orleans by, just not playing. Last season, James Harden.
Whoa, Harden's overweight.
He didn't sit on the bench like Kawhi and AD. He just played so bad that he probably should have been on the bench. Take a guess at the
he probably should have been on the bench.
Harden stopped giving a damn. Are Ben Simmons' actions in hopes of landing on a new team the most desperate and blatantly disrespectful we've ever seen? Well, it's debatable. A few seasons ago, Jimmy Butler wanted out of Minnesota, but Butler didn't get kicked out of practice for not wanting to participate. He did the opposite. The man whooped up on the Timberwolves starters with a bunch of third stringers while yelling, "You need me, you can't win without me." Possibly the most Jimmy Butler thing I've ever heard.
Hey, it's happens to be way up at 5 a.m., man. That cranking is gets you.
To a trade by throwing a used towel onto his head coach's face in the middle of a game.
Oh!
In a Lakers uniform within a week. But over the last few seasons, the star player doing whatever it takes to get out of an organization has been trending upwards. Player empowerment is a good thing. Players should have the autonomy to dictate their future.
Yeah, facts. I get it. But they have the right to do that if you play well and you are showing it, bro. And Simmons does not fit that category.
Because Simmons isn't Kawhi Leonard or James Harden or Anthony Davis.
Exactly.
He isn't a generational talent, and his organization.
Ooh, Jimmy High Roller woke up with Air Force. Bro, he said he is not a generational. Yo! Bro, if I was to say that, I would be canceled. Bro, how are you getting away with this?
Opposite. The 76ers have spent the last 4 seasons
can't make this up.
Suited specifically for Ben's exceptional but very limited skill set. Ben argues that with the right pieces around him, he could reach his full potential. Right. What
Yeah,
happens
that's what I'm about to
when
say.
you can't shoot and everyone knows it?
Look
That
at his
question
facial
is
expression,
quite
bro.
literal, but let me broaden the question. What happens when you think you're a superstar, but everyone else knows you're not? Now, before we answer that, I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. With live events making a comeback and a new NBA season upon us, SeatGeek is here to get us back in the action. Check this out. Just download the SeatGeek app and use promo code Jimmy to get $20 off your first order. SeatGeek makes buying tickets easier than ever with a rating system that lets you know which tickets are a good deal.
All right, the
and
man
which
Jimmy
tickets
High
are
Roller.
best of first superstar. The age-old case of a good player who thinks he's a superstar. I'm not sure if this has ever gone well for anyone, ever. Here's an interesting chart displaying the continuity of every roster in the NBA from season to season. In other words, this chart tracks how much each NBA team changes its roster every season. And with one of the most turbulent rosters in the entire NBA is the 76ers, making adjustments to their team more than nearly every other organization in the league. A lot of these changes specifically made in order for Ben Simmons to succeed, potentially leading to success for the 76ers. And this plan was going relatively well.
He thought he was nice that
Until
layup.
playoffs.
Simmons. This is the
First time in his career he's decided.
Well, it was on this floor in game one.
This dude is horrible, man.
Ben Simmons. He misses again. He's missed 5 consecutive free
This dude is
throws now.
horrible. Grown ass. Look at this man's face.
This was a
Bro, this guy Simmons is worse than Shaq in his prime shooting free throws.
Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
Must I remind y'all, this man is one of the highest paid players in the NBA.
Oh my
Despite the
gosh. Did you
organization
see that
standing
shot?
Beside him, this guy is demanding a trade. And as selfish and unaware as Ben is being to his teammates and coaches, his actions could potentially hurt the entire league as a whole. At this point, it only seems like a matter of time before Simmons finds himself suiting up with a different team, which would mean that for no justifiable reason, completely unwarranted, a player can just decide one day he doesn't want to be on a certain team anymore, and that team is held hostage, with money tied up in that player and a roster situation that they are now forced to scramble and patch together. This goes beyond player empowerment, resembling something more like player dictatorship. Connor Bergen, a writer for SB Nation, discussed potential changes to how the NBA structures player contracts due to these forced demands. In the modern era of player empowerment and freedom of movement, franchise executives argue they need more protection from trade requests and player non-compliance. Team officials have recently discussed the possibility of introducing monetary repercussions for players who ask out. There's
That's
gotta be
whack,
some kind
bro.
of penalty or
If you
fine.
average
These
20 or
guys
more
sign
points per
the
game, you
supermax
should
and then
literally
they
ask for a
traded
trade
the
if you
next
want.
day. Some GMs have suggested a
real.
penalty totaling up to 70% of a player's salary, which most GMs think would be a big enough fine to incentivize these players to stay put. But even a massive penalty like that wouldn't change anything at all. What happens when a player doesn't explicitly say he wants out, but instead just plays like trash? The team would have no choice but to trade that player, and since he didn't demand a trade, he wouldn't be penalized. After decades of ownership having all the leverage in these situations, players were given more power, and this is what happens when a player decides to abuse that power. But just imagine if a league was able to put together a plan that would prevent star players from leaving their teams prematurely. This would mean far less movement in the NBA, more parity, less teaming up of ultra-elite players and super teams. This could potentially create a league like we saw in the 90s and early 2000s, where every team had its star player, and that star player stuck with the team through thick and thin.
Yeah.
A far-fetched but hopeful proposition. But the irony in this whole Ben Simmons situation is that there are players in the league that could justifiably pull a stunt like this, but they don't. Damian Lillard has given his blood, sweat, and tears to the Portland Trail Blazers for the last 9 seasons. And despite the franchise doing little to accommodate his greatness, he remains loyal to the team. A Washington Post article written by Jerry Brewer pretty much summarizes Simmons' antics. Star movement has filled a vacuum created by lack of parity. It has caused personal acquisition to become as popular as the regular season and playoffs. Right now, it seems to be a vicious cycle of instability led by players who have assumed power without really knowing what they want, on the whims of entitled 20-somethings who would rather escape the grind or who would rather go to the next shiny market than coexist with another star. Every prominent player is in pursuit of a move that supposedly will change the landscape of the league. And possibly the worst part, Simmons isn't even a superstar. Sure, he's a good player, but when the going gets tough, how many people want Simmons dictating the success of their team down the stretch? And Brewer's comments on escaping the grind really hits the nail on the head with Ben Simmons. This man has had no progression in 4 NBA seasons. He hasn't expanded his game. He hasn't developed even a sign of a jump shot. I'm not in the gym putting up shots with the man, but it wouldn't be a stretch to say that Ben has avoided the grind. He's content with being the player that he is, while deflecting his faults and shortcomings on a team that has done everything to help him. Think about it. Everything that makes Ben Simmons a great player, it's all God-given. His vision, his IQ, his passing, his size. Mans is getting paid $33 million a year for being 6'10". And this is coming from someone who has been on the Ben Simmons bandwagon since he was a senior in high school. Must we not forget that Kobe wanted out of LA back in 2007. He wasn't happy. Management was at an all-time low, and the Lakers were doing little to meet Kobe's needs. So what does he do about it? The man turned around and won back-to-back championships. Back in 1998, the Chicago Bulls front office did just about everything in their power to disrespect Michael Jordan. And even MJ didn't make unrealistic demands with the organization. The man just retired. At the end of the day, I don't see this situation going in Ben's favor. Either
That
Ben
sucks
stays
right
on
there.
a team where trust has been completely broken, or the Sixers trade him to a team that can take on his massive contract and he can hit the reset button. New city, same old jump shot, or lack thereof. New team, same sense of entitlement. This is what happens when you can't shoot, and everyone knows it. Hope you all enjoy.
That's
And
just
as
man. Coming up
always,
with that stress next
until
man.
next time.
4 minute.